Mythicals, it's Minotari's here, but you can call me Minnow. If you're new here, welcome on in. This is my makeup channel, and today we're gonna be doing some everyday, everywhere kind of makeup look, and I'm really excited about this one. It's been requested that I do a video that involves using 3 or more eyeshadow shades, and so that's what we're going to talk about. But before we get started with that, feel free to come check me out on all of my social media platforms. They are all linked down below. I stream on Twitch, I have a gaming YouTube channel, and I'm active on literally every platform. So pick your preferred platform and come hang out with me over there. Would love to see you. And then also, if you're curious about the products that I use in today's video, they will also be linked down in the description box as well. So let's get started. So for today's look, I'm going to be utilizing my upside down my so very lovely Colourpop eyeshadow palette. I absolutely love this makeup palette. It is the most perfect palette, especially for fall. It has the most beautiful, like, warm tone fall-y kind of colors, as you can see right here. This has been my go-to palette for months now, and I love using like purples and oranges and shimmery colors, and this palette just has everything that I want all in one. So this has been my go-to palette for the past several months, and I'm going to utilize it for today's makeup look. So for starters, it is important to also just note that when it comes to utilizing 3 or more colors, it can get very chaotic. But when you're doing that, it's very much a trust the process kind of process. So just stick with me. I promise once you get the rest of your makeup look all put together, it's going to really come together and it's going to look beautiful. And if you love it, that's all that matters. And if you feel confident in it, that's all that matters. So keep that in mind. And I'm also kind of curious to know as well, do you typically start with your base first and then your eyes, or do you start with your eyes first and then your base? Just throwing that question out there because I'm curious to know what your process is like when you're doing your makeup. I prefer to start with my eyes, and so that being said, we're going to bust out my concealer. And you're probably thinking, I thought you were starting with your eyeshadow first, your eyes. I am. So I'm going to be using my Morphe concealer. This is in the shade Light 2, and side note, I cannot stand their foundation, but I love Morphe's concealer. It's absolutely amazing. So I'm going to be taking just a little bit of concealer and putting small dots on my eyelids. And by doing this, you're giving the eyeshadow something to kind of grip onto. You're creating a nice, clean, soft canvas to work on. And it also kind of helps with like longevity throughout the day, in my opinion. This is what works for me. If you do have any other makeup tips and tricks that you would like for me to try or want to suggest, you can always do so down in the comments. I want to create a place where we can learn how to just try different ways of doing makeup. There is no right or wrong way. As long as you love how it turns out, that is truly all that matters. And rock whatever you are feeling that day. So I am going to take a flat brush. My camera doesn't like to focus on my brushes for some reason, but just kind of like this flat brush, and just paint the concealer over my eyelid and try and get it just as consistently as I can all the way over. And if you get too much, you can honestly just kind of drag it down below your eyes because you're going to end up putting concealer there anyways. So, and now that I have it all kind of painted across my eyelids, I'm going to take another flat brush, very similar to what I just used, and we're going to dip it into the lightest shade that I want to use for this look. So it's called Eyelet, and we're going to be using this color right here. And so something that's kind of important to note when you're utilizing 3 or more eyeshadow colors, color theory kind of goes into play with this, but also knowing whether you are better suited for warm toned colors, neutral colors, or cool toned colors. I personally prefer warm toned colors on me, and I love to utilize oranges and pinks and purples, and so a lot of my looks do kind of involve that. And so this palette's more of a warm toned palette, and that's what I'm going to be using. And then also something else that's kind of key to note too is that pick a color scheme. Find colors that really work well together, that are going to blend well together. And then start with like the lightest color in the inner corner and gradually work your way darker as you go across the eye. So, keeping that in mind, we're going to take my pretty bright orangey color and I'm just going to put it in the inner corners of my eyes. And it's going to take some buildup. But typically what I like to do is just kind of place down like where I want the color to be. And then I like to get a little messy. And I'll use my finger to really pack on and build up the pigment of my eyeshadow. So here in a little bit, I'm going to be ditching my makeup brush. But for now, I'm just kind of placing down where I want the color to be. And I'm going to bring the lightest shade not directly to the middle of the lid, but ever so slightly off from it. It's just what I do. If you bring it towards the middle, that's totally fine. If you get a little bit of eyeshadow kind of like below the inner corner, that's totally fine. I personally like that. And then later on, I will add some shimmer to it. And I kind of like that look. If you don't like it, you can just get a makeup wipe and just kind of wipe it off. Or if you have like a little clean brush, you can kind of like try to just brush it away too if you want. But I personally don't mind it. And I'm going to just ditch the makeup brush, take my finger, and just rub the color in a bit more. And we're just going to pack it in and build it up. That's like the motto for makeup. Pack it in and build it up. And I'll just do this to both of my eyes until I get the desired look that I'm wanting. And if at any point the colors you're using become a little bit dull, that's okay. Just take your finger or your brush, whichever you prefer, and just kind of reapply. And you might have to kind of do this a few times throughout doing your eyeshadow makeup. Because you want to eventually get that same consistency, and it's kind of hard to tell how that's going to look until you get all of those colors on, if that makes any sense. So, next, this is kind of just started doing this. I don't know if I necessarily recommend it, but I'm going to show you this new, I don't even know if I want to call it a technique, this new thing that I've been doing with my eye makeup. And if you want to try it, you can. And if you don't like it, I 100% understand. But I'm going to actually go in with this darker shade right here. It is called Topanga Boulevard. So I'm going to take this shade and I'm going to take, I don't know if the camera's going to focus, but I have like this angled makeup brush. And I'm just going to kind of dip my brush in. And I'm going to kind of create almost like a wing with the eyeshadow. And this is also a good kind of like stencil in a way for where your eyeliner is going to go as well in a few steps away from now. And I'm just going to do kind of like little, like at least attempt to do like little baby kind of like half triangle or angle, but whatever you want to call it. And then we'll kind of build and blend it outwards and kind of get rid of the harsh lines. So let me just kind of demonstrate and show you a little bit. So I'm just taking it and drawing this line straight to the outer corner of my eye. And then I'm going to flick it into like the crease. I'm not going to go all the way over. We're just going to go a little bit into the crease. And we're just going to kind of work with that for right now. We're just going to, it looks crazy. Trust the process. And we're going to do it to the other side. And we've kind of created like this little template that we're going to be using. So we're going to kind of take a pause with that color for right now. And I'm going to go in with, it's called Dreamcatcher. I'm going to go in with this color right here. See how it's a little bit darker than this color that we used, but a little bit lighter than this color. So I'm going to take what I call my fluffy brush, and it's just fluffy. And I'm gonna dip it in the Dreamcatcher, the medium shade color. And I'm going to fill in the rest of my eyelid. And I'm just gonna keep kind of dipping it in. And once again, packing it in and building it up. And also kind of blending it in with the lighter shade a bit too. And I'll just do this to both eyes. And kind of go back and forth until I get the desired look. So they should more or less kind of meet in the middle with the colors. And if you're using colors that are very cohesive together, it should blend out really pretty. With my fluffy brush, I'm going to kind of get the excess color, eyeshadow color off and like just kind of rub it off onto my washcloth that I have here. And more or less kind of start with like a clean slate. And going back in with the dark color that we were just using, I'm going to dip my fluffy brush in there. And we're going to revisit those lines that we just did. And start to just kind of blend it out into the crease of my eye. So whenever, it's also important to note too that whenever you dip your brush into the eyeshadow, you can either like kind of tap it to get the excess off, or like, regardless, you're going to want to start with the outer side of your eyeshadow and then kind of work your way in when you're using the darker colors. Because you want it to kind of fade to like a lighter color. Remember, we're trying to keep the light colors on the inside of our eye and the darker colors towards the outer side of our eye. We'll just kind of blend this all the way over into the crease and almost kind of creates like a gradient. And then you can also kind of like blend it out a little bit and create more of an accentuated wing if you want to go more dramatic, which is something that I kind of like to do. And then I'll bring it back down into like the corner of my eye over here. And you can just, once again, pack it in and build it up until your desired outcome. And so this is kind of what we got going on right now. I know it still looks a little crazy, but again, trust the process. And we're just going to do the same thing to the other eye. I hate how, like, one eye always seems to look better than the other eye. I feel like this is a moment that's happening right now. And we've kind of created, like, these nice, like, shapes kind of going on with the eyeshadow. Gonna keep kind of blending. And if you get too much, it's okay to kind of blend upwards towards the brow bone. Because I have another solution for that. So don't worry about doing that. If you get too much, you can just kind of blend it upwards towards the eyebrow bone. Because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take not quite the lightest shade in the palette. I'm going to go in with this, what I think is like more the second lightest shade in the palette. It's called Rose Avenue. So this color right here. And it's more of like a toned down, muted color of the darker shade that we're using. And I'm just gonna like put this on the brow bone. And we'll just kind of blend it in with the darker shade. So it doesn't make the darker shade look as harsh on your eye. And this will go more onto the brow bone, but also blending in the darker color. And because they're in that same color family, they're going to blend really pretty. It's just kind of like the lighter color of the darker shade. And if you have an eyeshadow palette that is actually very good with having like a cohesive color collection, this makes doing multiple eye color or multiple eyeshadow looks work very well. I've had a few eyeshadow palettes where there was just really no rhyme or reason to the colors used, and so it can get kind of difficult to create a makeup look with that. So this is like one of my favorite palettes because of like how cohesive these colors work together. So you can just kind of keep blending and building to your desire. And sometimes you're going to have to go in with some of the previous colors to just kind of bring them back into the picture. One thing I have learned over the years of playing with my eye makeup is that it's a lot of building and blending. And so something else that I'm going to do is now I'm going to take my finger, go with the second darkest shade, and just kind of pack it back in again. Make sure that this color is also still present in the eye makeup look. And then I'm going to take the lighter shade and just kind of build it back up again as well. And so with this, all colors should be pretty present on your eyes. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my flat brush and I'm going to go in with the lightest shade in the palette called Craft Works. This shade right here. And this is going to go directly underneath my eyebrow. We'll just kind of blend these colors in. And now, next up, I'm going to take my fluffy brush, and with the darkest shade that I use, the Topanga Boulevard, I'm now going to bring it down underneath my eye and go about halfway with it. And you can kind of blend it back up into the angled part of the eyeshadow, just to make sure it's all kind of cohesive. So now that I've gone about halfway, I'm going to clean off my fluffy brush, take the fluffy brush, and with the lighter orangey shade that we used in the middle, like inner corner of our eye, I'm going to drag it down below. And blend these two together. So basically you're taking like your lighter shade on the inside and your darker shade on the outside, bringing it down below and merging them together. I like to do this because I feel like it really brings the entire look together and looks very nice. And so now we have our eyeshadow done. I know it still looks crazy, don't worry. Once we add more of the finishing touches to the eyes, like the shimmer and the eyeliner and the mascara, it's going to come together, and then we'll get the rest of the face going too. So next is my favorite part. I absolutely love shimmer on my eyes. I'm obsessed with shimmery, glittery eyeshadow, so 9 out of 10 times there's going to be some shimmer involved in my eyeshadow. I will always find a way to add shimmer. So I'm just going to pick some shimmery shades that match some of the colors that we've used. And so we have this pretty goldy shade called Lace Up here. And I have this really tiny, kind of like flat-tipped brush. I like to use this for the shimmery shades on the inner corners of my eye. And so yeah, I just kind of dip it into the shimmer, and then I'll blend that shimmer into the lighter shade. That on both sides. And because my brush is so thin and so small, I kind of create like, I don't know if it's noticeable in the camera, but almost like a little triangle kind of shape to kind of match the triangular shape on the outside. Okay, and now that that's been applied to both eyes, I'm going to take, it's called Tea Time. It's like this really pretty rusty color that kind of matches this color. So I'm going to take this, and I usually use my fingers when it comes to the shimmers. I'm going to take that and just rub it over the second to darkest shade and just kind of blend it in with the previous shimmer that we just used. So now we have that. Then I have this really pretty, it's called Organza shimmer shade right here. And I'm just going to lightly put a little bit of it in the crease of my eye. I say lightly, but I forget how pigmented this one is. Basically, you're just taking the matching shimmer, the eyeshadow that you just used, and placing it where it goes. And then I'm just blending it out a bit with my fingers. I have like this really fluffy angled brush, and I like to just kind of smooth out any remaining harsh lines on the eyeshadow. And if you take away too much, just go back on that color, build it back up, blend it out, and just kind of repeat the process until you get it to how you like. So now that I am done with my eyeshadow, I'm going to move my bangs out of the way so you can see them a little bit better. Oh, not me just getting eyeshadow on my forehead. No one ever said makeup was clean. Okay. Alright, well, now that I have that off, so now you can kind of see a little bit better the eyeshadow. I know it still looks crazy, but it's gonna really come together, I promise you. I promise you. So, next, what I like to do is eyeliner. But I can't do eyeliner like while talking, so I'm gonna just apply my eyeliner and then I'll come back. And if you want an eyeliner tutorial in the future, let me know and I can do my best to film one. But for now, I'm just gonna go pop on my eyeliner and then we'll come right back. So, see you in a bit. Okay, so I've done my eyeliner. Now I'm going to apply my mascara. So for eyeliner, I like to use the NYX Epic Ink eyeliner. Makes it very easy to draw on and do winged eyeliner. And for mascara, I've been using this same brand of mascara since high school. I'm a bit of a brand loyalty kind of person, and if I like it, I like it. I'm going to keep using it. So this is the CoverGirl Voluminous Butterfly Effect mascara. And I personally like it. I've used the waterproof and the non-waterproof, and I love both, honestly. So, I'm going to apply my mascara real quick. I don't like to curl my eyelashes. I have like this weird irrational fear that like with an eyelash curler, it's going to chop off my eyelashes. And I know that that's not going to actually happen, but they freak me out so much I cannot bring myself to use an eyelash curler. But if you use one, obviously, you know, do your thing with that. I don't even know if you're supposed to curl your eyelashes first and then mascara, or you do mascara first and then you curl your lashes. I think I've only used an eyelash curler like maybe once in my life. A little fun fact too. So I'm left-handed, but one of the very, very few things I'm ambidextrous in is mascara. At least for the top lashes. Do we have any left-handed people here, or are you ambidextrous? And if you're left-handed, what are a few things that you've learned to do with your right hand? So, eye makeup look is all done. My bangs out of the way again for y'all to see. And now we're going to move on to the base. So I like to use the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. I saw so many people on TikTok using this that it convinced me to try it, and I've been using this for about a year now. I absolutely love it. It was one of the biggest game changers in makeup for me. So I just pour a little bit onto my index finger and then kind of evenly distribute it across my face. Something to note, I don't know if this is weird or not, but like because I have bangs, I don't really put makeup on my forehead. So if you don't have bangs, then do your thing with your makeup routine on your forehead. But unless I'm doing a specific character, I usually don't do makeup on my forehead. Or if my forehead's going to be exposed, if I have my bangs pinned back, then I will obviously put makeup on my forehead. So after I put on my primer, I like to go in with the e.l.f. Camouflage. I don't really know what it's called. It's like e.l.f. Camouflage something. And I use the green one. So going back to color theory, I, as you can tell, have a lot of acne, and have always kind of suffered and struggled with acne. So obviously acne tends to be like a red and even sometimes a little bit purple. So green's gonna cancel out the red when you look at the color wheel. So I'm gonna place this on areas that I have blemishes, but it's also good for like any dark circles underneath your eyes as well. And just any redness that you have. Even if you don't have acne, it's good for just any like redness on your skin. Now I'll just take my beauty blender and just kind of dab it in. I don't want to like harshly brush it away, I'm just kind of dabbing. And it might make your face have like a bit of a green tint at first, but it's gonna blend out just fine with your foundation. This is really just masking the red on your skin. It may not look like it's doing much like on camera, but it is definitely doing something in person. And I did actually notice a difference when I put on my foundation over the areas that I suffer from like acne and have like red tints to my skin and things like that. So now I'm gonna go in with my foundation, which I like to use the Colourpop foundation. This is Colourpop's Pretty Fresh in the shade Light 45W. So this is the foundation I like to use. I do have another foundation I like to use as well, from Curse Cosmetics, but that one's a little more on the pricey end, so I kind of use that for special occasions. But that one is also a fantastic foundation, and if you're looking to try new foundations, I do really highly recommend that you try the Curse Cosmetics foundation. It also comes with a concealer in the lid, and truly flawless. So good. It is one of the best foundations I've ever tried in my entire life, and I'm not just saying that because I am affiliated with Curse Cosmetics, but if you are interested in trying it, you can go down to the link in the description box, use my affiliate code, and you can save 10% off on your order. Highly, 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 highly recommend their foundation. It is amazing. It is on the pricier side, but you do get foundation and concealer with it. It is a cream concealer. But for now, I'm going to use just my cheaper end of the foundation, which is my Colourpop foundation. It is a little bit more on the affordable side if you're needing something affordable. I do still really enjoy the Colourpop foundation. I've been using it for years. Now I'm just going to kind of blend my foundation into my face. And when I get into the eye part, I just kind of like follow along that line that we created earlier with our eyeshadow, and it really cleans it up a bit. I just kind of work my way all over my face. Blend it down into my neck a bit. What I like about both the Curse Cosmetics and Colourpop foundations is that they're very light on my skin. It does not make my skin feel heavy. And they do withstand in the Texas heat. If you have ever been to Texas in the summer, if you live in Texas, then you know how brutal our summers are and you feel like you're just sweating and melting your makeup off. what I have found with both Colourpop and Curse Cosmetics foundations is that they stay on even during like the peak summer hours in Texas, which I think says a lot. And they do feel very lightweight, but it's still got like more of that full coverage feel to it. So now that I've applied my foundation, I'm going to go back in with my Morphe concealer and just put a little bit underneath my eyes, then over my blemishes. And what I noticed with like the e.l.f. camo, I guess it's also kind of a concealer, the e.l.f. camo concealer, it really does take away the red on my face because it makes it easier to use my actual concealer. I feel like e.l.f. has really been stepping up their makeup game lately. They've come out with some really good products, and one thing I love about e.l.f. is how inexpensive it is. I'm just kind of like dabbing my concealer into my face. You see how that's doing such a good job of hiding my acne? Is it perfect? No. But it did a really good job of just not quite eliminating it, but like really reducing the redness on my face and kind of disguising the fact that I have some blemishes right now. Now that I'm done with my concealer, sometimes I just take my fingers and kind of blend out underneath my eyes just a little bit. It can be kind of hard to get with the beauty blender. But now that I'm done with that, I'm going to work on my contour. I like to use the Milk Makeup contour stick. I use the shade Toasted, and it looks like this. I'm almost out though, so I need to get some more. But I have like this e.l.f. contour brush, and just kind of, I have to like dip it in there because I'm like practically have nothing left in there. But I just kind of like get it in there and then kind of angle down my face, and then I'll get my nose. I just kind of like run it down the sides of my nose and a little bit in the front. And now I'm going to take, I don't know names of brushes, but I'm going to take this brush. It's kind of angled a little bit, more on that fluffier, thicker side. And in circular motions, just kind of blend out my contour. And I try to go like kind of upwards with it, at least to the best of my ability. I'm better at doing the left side than I am the right side. Kind of blend out around my nose. I recently started using the Milk Cosmetics foundation, or not foundation, contour, and I've been super impressed with it. I just hate how small the product is. I wish I had more. Now that I've blended out the contour around my nose, I'm going to take my concealer, just do a little dot here, dot there, and just brighten up the middle part in case I got too much contour in the middle. And I just use that same brush I did for the contour. Okay, now that I've done that, I like to kind of just spray my face just a little bit to kind of keep the moisture in. And then just kind of like wave and fan my hand. I had a fan that I actually used, but I can't find it. But for the moisture that I'm using to put on my face, it's the Mario Badescu Skincare, and I use the facial spray with aloe, adaptogens, and coconut water. I get this from Ulta, and I personally love it. It makes my skin feel like very hydrated and moisturized, despite, you know, having all the makeup on and stuff. So I'll just do a little spritz of that, and now I'm going to go in with my blush, and today I'm going to be using my Colourpop blush. I've been really liking the liquid and cream blushes as of late. So this is in the shade Cutesy Wootsy. Super cute. It's a little on the dirty side. I got a hair in there. I gotta get it out. But this is the blush that I'm using. And honestly, I use my finger for this too. So like run my oh, y'all didn't see that. Run my finger through it. And then I like curve it down, and I put it more like towards the temple of my face. Because when you do it like higher up and kind of like blend out, it's gonna like lift the face. And then I like to put just a little bit on my nose. I have not left the e-girl trend yet when it comes to putting blush on my nose. So again, with the brush that I used to blend out my contour, I'm going to use it to just kind of blend out my blush. And kind of do it in circular motions, trying to keep it more upwards. And then I just bring it to just about where the apples of my cheeks start. And then I'll blend out the center of my nose. And I just kind of bring the blush down the sides. And that is my blush. Now I'm going to go in with my highlighter. And I really like to use the Jefree Star Frozen Peach Supreme Frost highlighter. This is what it looks like. A friend gifted this to me a few years ago for my birthday, and I've been in love with it ever since. So I just take like this really big, like super fluffy brush and just add the highlighter on. And I just put a little bit down my nose as well. And so that's how I do that. Now I'm going to work on my eyebrows. I know you can't really see my brows because of my bangs, but, you know, still got to work on them. I'm going to take my spoolie and just brush out my eyebrows. I don't really care about eyebrow trends, and I just do the bare minimum with my eyebrows. Now, after I've taken the spoolie and brushed out my eyebrows, I'm going to take, I have a designated angled brush for my eyebrows, and lately I've been just using my Hocus Pocus 2 Colourpop palette, and I'll go in with the black shade and just kind of fill in my eyebrows. And that's pretty much all I do to my brows. After I fill in my brows, I take my spoolie again and just kind of brush it, blend it out, make sure it's a little consistent and not just all like clumped up in different parts of my eyebrows. And that is how I do my eyebrows. And for the last step, I'm going to take my Cursed Cosmetics translucent loose powder. And with that, I'm going to, I just kind of dump a little bit into the lid. Then I took my little powder puff and just kind of pack it into almost like where I put most of my concealer. So like my under eyes. And I love how much this blends out and like kind of like blurs my pores and just really brings the look together. And I'll put some a little bit over here along my jawline. I also like to put it in my T-zone where I get like really oily. So basically underneath my eyes, the T-zone, and then along my jawline. After I've done that, I want to bring more moisture back into my face. I really need to find my fan. I just do another spritz of my moisturizer. So this is pretty much the final look. Lastly, do my lips real quick, and I'm going to, for this look, I always try to find like a lip color that is not as dark as the eye makeup, but kind of like flows with the makeup, if that makes sense. Like, you don't want to utilize the darkest shade of eyeshadow unless you want to. I have done black eyeshadow and black lipstick before. I mean, if you really want to, you can. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do your makeup. I prefer to pick a shade that's a little bit lighter than the darkest shade of my eyeshadow. So I'm going to go in with Colourpop, and it is called Made You Look. And it's like this really pretty rosy, like deep rosy pink color. And I think it looks really pretty with the eyeshadow shades that I've used for today's look. There we go. And that's the lipstick look. Some other lipstick shades that you could use with this look could be either like more of a nude color. And if you wanted to, you can even go a little bit more on like an orangey side too. I think that would look really pretty as well and kind of create like more of that sunset fall color look. But other than that, this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully you learned a thing or two about my typical routine when doing my eye makeup. I know that it was requested to utilize 3 or more eyeshadow shades, and I kind of just went ahead and went through my whole makeup routine along with that. So what we have for my eyeshadow looks that are multicolored. So hopefully you like this, and I can always go and do another video that involves different colors, maybe do like more of a purple look, more of a blue look, more of a green look, although greens are a little hard for me to do. I don't know why. I have the worst luck with green eyeshadows, but I'm willing to sit down and try and do different multicolored eyeshadow looks using various colors and things like that. So, but hopefully you learned something. If you liked this look, let me know down in the comments, and let me know if there's any makeup challenges you would like for me to try. What characters would you like me to try and recreate? I did upload a video last week doing Art the Clown from Terrifier, and hopefully you enjoyed that video as well. I'm a little new to doing makeup videos, so I'm hoping with time that, you know, these get better and I kind of find more of my routine. But I appreciate you sticking with me through this video and my other video, and looking forward to having you along this makeup journey. And once again, down below in the description box, you can find all of my social media links. And also, if you want to help support me as a content creator, there's various avenues of doing that as well. Those will all be linked down in the description box. Your support is truly amazing, but obviously not obligated. I appreciate you all just being here, hanging out with me, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!